Hello, Linjani Makaya. Welcome to the first episode of Covid-19 Rumour Tracking TalkShow. My name is Marvelous Matswimbo from Gwabulawayo. Konke tuziyathunga komfazi uchaya indoda. Konyama kayipheli kuphela amazinyo endoda. Yes, this is me, Marvelous Matswimbo, and I am your host. And with me on the show, I have my lovely guest, my learned guest over here, where we'll be discussing issues that are related to COVID-19, the rumors that we had during this time of COVID-19. We know that COVID-19 is still ongoing, but then there are a lot of rumors that have been circulating and people have been affected by that misinformation and disinformation. So this talk show is going to take place in different universities, and today I've got guests from the National University of Science and Technology here in Bulawayo. There are students there, and I also have our health experts who's going to help us to debug that information, to actually discuss rumors that we had. We're also going to go to MSU GZU, but then here on this episode I've got guests from Bulawayo, and we're going to be mixing the language because, well, it's Ndebele and I love Bulawayo so much, so I'm going to be mixing Ndebele and English. So I'm going to ask my guests to introduce themselves, starting with our health expert.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm a health professional here in Bulawayo with experience in nursing of COVID-19 patients. So thank you for inviting me to the show.
Thank you so much. I understand she has been working on COVID-19 related issues. That's why I invited her to the show, so that maybe we have that background of whatever we're talking about here, so that everyone understands where we are coming from. And then I'm going to come to you.
Hello everybody, my name is Boisile Dube, aka Mvelase. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mvelase.
Hi guys, my name is Joya Bebe. I'm part 2 journalism at NAST University.
Well, we have got journalists on the show, and we're talking about COVID-19. You know, I think it's going to get interesting. So without wasting much of the time, I'm going to come to you guys. So I understand, like, in the past few days, we had a listening session where we had you guys discussing the rumors that you had during the COVID-19 period, and that are still circulating up to now. So I'm going to come to you, Gloria. What are some of the rumors that you had about COVID-19?
Well, firstly, when COVID-19 was introduced, there were a lot of remedies that people were just coming up with. They were popping up here and there. You can use this, use that. And one of the remedies that I heard was you can cut onions and put them around your house, so they kind of draw in the virus and the face or something like that. And a lot of people were buying more onion to just put that remedy into place, and it was really ridiculous. But the problem is we weren't listening to experts or anything. We were just coming up with a rumor from, like, you hear it from someone and then you start putting it into place. Yeah, that was the rumor that I heard.
Okay, so I understand there was a lot of information circulating about COVID-19. So that's the rumor that she had, that if onions, and then you put them around the house, well, COVID will be swallowed by onions or by the smell. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's the rumor that she had. And we're going to ask our experts over here to actually explain, what do you think about that rumor? Is it something that people can actually rely on, or it's just a myth?
Okay, yeah, we've heard a lot of those, like the zumbani, onion, steaming and the likes. But you go back to what is the cause of COVID-19. It's a virus. So the onion is an antivirus. It won't kill the virus as such, but it's something which over the years, like flu remedies, people just used them. And in COVID also, it's a flu-like illness. So it helps in terms of it being flu-like, like whatever symptoms which are linked to onion. But really, there is no scientifically proven information or data out there to tell you that the onion, the zumbani, the steaming is just to try and just make sure that the symptoms, whatever flu-like, your headache, your sneezing, your coughing, is just what's attended to. But it's not really going to kill the virus.
No.
The virus will still be there.
Okay, thank you so much for that response. So I understand that we took this program to universities because the assumption is that university students are very learned and they are well read. But then what I got from some of the discussions is that, people, it was some of our university learned friends who were taking this information to their grandparents, to their parents at home, and, spreading to say, if you put the onions, it actually works. And we're expecting those people to be well read and all that. I'm not saying that they are not, all of them, but some of them, they are the ones spreading information, not because they want to, but it's information that's circulating, and because we understand of the economic situation, the data charges, I don't have time to go on the internet and actually start researching what's going on, is this true or a lie, and then I'll just work with what I heard from my neighbor, because they'll say, I read it from the internet. You're like, okay, so if I go to the internet, I'll still find the same thing. So that's why we went with this program to the universities, starting the National University of Science and Technology, which are my guests over here. So Vui, I'll come to you. So what's interesting that you heard about COVID-19, the rumors that you actually managed to get, during this period?
I think another rumor that I heard about is something that circulated across WhatsApp. I'm sure you've heard about it, and we discussed it in our other session. Okay. It's that if you mix lemon and bicarbonate of soda or other household things, and you mix it maybe with a little bit of water, and then you drink that. That's a cure for COVID. I don't know what your take on that is.
So COVID actually disappears if you drink those, it doesn't take. All right. Yeah. Okay, so our health aspect here. So that's another remedy that actually came up during the, we're coming. I was actually, this one that he's talking about, I actually tried it at some point in time. Onions and all, but I wasn't mixing all the things that he was talking about. But then maybe the gingers, the onion, the what you call it, lemons and everything, just to try, to protect myself, because I didn't know exactly, as well, I didn't have much information. In as much as I was trying to research, I was coming across a lot of information, and I wouldn't even know if this is true. I go to the WHO page. Most of the times, that information wouldn't have been updated, and in the meantime, I was still waiting for them to update the information. I use the one that I get. So, what do you think about some of these remedies? Because some of them, I understand, they might be harmful to the body.
Okay, yeah, these remedies, they're coming from different sources. So it's very important for an individual. Before you try something, I think you can also Google it. There's a lot of information out there. And as a health professional, we rely on health websites, institutions to give us the information, the correct information. So in terms of all these, the bicarbonate, or we should put it, lemon and water, is it? It's all part of, I can say, remedies which help to boost even the immune system, even from way back. They just came to the fore when COVID became widespread, but they were always there. So a lot of them are now circulating due to the COVID coming up. But in terms of information, we use information which is coming from reliable sources like the World Health Organization. Those are the people who give us the guidelines as to how to tackle the COVID virus. And you must know that a virus, when it attacks your body, if you are not given an antiviral, basically what you're doing is not targeting the virus. So you're trying to boost your body to fight the virus, and possibly what? Make sure that you don't get too sick. That's something which is also part of what the vaccine does. It helps you to be able to fight the virus, and when you get the virus, it's not going to have a high load on your body. So if it's not too much in you, and you can't pass it to the next person. The chances which you can pass it to somebody, they become reduced, and how severe you become, it's also going to reduce it. So you are less severe, and the chances of passing it to somebody else are also less. So it's really necessary that we take the measures which were given by our health ministry, health institutions, on what to do in terms of management of COVID-19.
Okay, thank you so much about that. So she mentioned something about access to information access using health websites and all that. So I'm going to come to you guys. I don't know who's going to respond to that, but how accessible was information to you? How available was the information to you guys, like looking at the university students? So how did you manage to access that information regarding COVID-19?
For me, during the lockdown, it was really hard for us to keep in touch. For example, maybe a lot of people were facing data challenges because of the financial situation which was there in the country at that moment. So basically, we relied on telling each other what to do. For example, if there's someone in the neighborhood who had maybe a COVID scare, you can rely on the family members to tell you what did they do when it got to this stage, or how are they preventing themselves from getting the COVID, the virus, and then that was just about it. And time and again, we would get on the net and try to research, and we would get remedies which are almost similar to what we are getting from the neighbors and our family and our friends, and then we think, we're on the right track. So basically that was just it during the lockdown.
Okay, so we are also going to come to you. Which sources were using to access information? Or just to be honest, did you really try to look into COVID-19, or you were just like, it's just there, I'm just using the remedies that I'm getting from the people? Or did you really try to research and find information on your own?
Yeah, I did, because you have to remember at the time when it came out, it was a really scary prospect. You know, this virus that has suddenly emerged out of nowhere. We have lockdowns and people that are close to you are dying. So I really did look, but the main sources of information that I got, at my own admission, weren't really local. I would look at news organizations or news channels like ENCA in South Africa and CNN. Those are the things that I get most of my information on the virus and how to tackle it and the progression. And then local newspapers like the Chronicle gave us the numbers of the new cases. That's where I got information from. So it was quite readily available. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that. I was thinking, because most of us, didn't really look into it. It was something that was there, and then we'd hear the neighbors talk about it. They said yesterday, 3,000 people died in Italy. I'm spreading that rumor, 3,000. I didn't even research to see if it really 3,000 people who died. So I noticed that it wasn't a challenge for just a few, but a lot of people that weren't really interested. Not that interested, I'm not sure, but they were not really looking into it to say, am I really interested in finding information about COVID-19, or I'll rely on the sources that I have on the ground. So COVID-19, when it came in, there was no vaccine. We're trying to find different, vaccines and all that. And then when the vaccine actually came, other rumors actually started spreading about that particular vaccine that was now introduced to be the cure for COVID. So I'm going to ask you guys to say, what are the rumors that you heard that related to the vaccine that was brought from outside, by different governments, by different countries?
You want to go first?
Now the rumor that I heard was the rumor on fertility. So it was said, if you get vaccinated, then you won't be able to get pregnant for the next 5 years. And that rumor spread so fast in our WhatsApp groups, and everyone was just happy that, we are safe, and people just let go of their prevention methods that they were using and were like, I got the vaccine, I'm safe now. And after a while, a lot of pregnancies proved it to be wrong.
All right, actually that as well, and I was thinking about, but maybe the vaccine is a good thing, or the COVID itself, is a good thing, because now I don't have to go and worry about the pills that I have to drink every day, 8 and all that, all those kind of things. So I'm going to ask you, what do you have to say about that kind of a rumor? Did you hear something related to that, and what can you say about it?
Yeah, actually that's very true. A lot of people were seen coming into health institutions asking about the same issues. Is it going to cover? Is it going to prevent me from having children? Something like that. A lot of questions came up. So what happens with these medicines, generally medicines, vaccines, before they're given to the public, they're tested. And once they approve certain vaccine or medication, it goes through the formal channels. And the available vaccines on the market, those are the approved vaccines. And once it comes to us, like every medication, any family planning, they tell you there's a 99% chance that you can get pregnant. There's always that risk involved, but we sort of have like 98 or 99% of those people who take it don't get pregnant, and 1%. So do we not give you because of the 1%? We give it to you, but we inform you that it's not 100%. So a vaccine is not a cure. It is not a cure. We're just helping your body to be able to identify and fight. So we're making sure that your immune system can recognize it the minute it gets into your body, and then it begins to fight. And the severity, like I said, you won't get sick as much as you would have without being vaccinated. Same concept goes with the 6 killer child diseases. That's the same concept. The more children get vaccinated, the less you'll see of the disease. It can actually get to 0 cases. So that's what if you heard about the concept of herd immunity, if ever you heard it somewhere, if a lot of people get vaccinated, so the less vulnerable people in our community, like those who have comorbidities like the hypertension, the sugar diabetes, when you get COVID, it tends to exacerbate the symptoms in those people, and their immune systems are low due to those other conditions which they have. So when most of us get vaccinated, we reduce the amount of virus within the community to a point whereby even if you get in contact with that elderly person, you'll be strong. But when it gets to him, it attacks him and maybe he doesn't make it. So the chances that you'll be able to transmit it to him, if you're vaccinated, it will be reduced because in your body it will be less because your body is able to identify it and fight it. So in terms of fertility and those other stories, it is not, there is no proven link whereby there is no way it's documented to say it interferes with you being fertile or infertile or conceiving, getting pregnant. There is actually absolutely no link. We've gone through most of the things, they don't mention it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was a profound response. Exacerbate, all those kind of things. Now I have a word to add to my dictionary. I don't know what it means, I will research. But anyways, thank you so much for that. So there is a famous rumor, I think this one everyone heard it. If you get the vaccine, after 2 years you are dead. You are gone. I think we also heard this a lot during our listening session at NAS. We could see a lot of people, it's a rumor that circulated, even my youngest sister at home, she didn't want to get vaccinated because she heard that if you have that vaccine, after 2 years, you are dead. And people, I don't think anyone wants to die, So what can you say about that?
Okay, not only dead, we're supposed to grow horns, Yeah, some of us were supposed to be having scales by now. But I've been vaccinated for over 2 years now. So yeah, like the minute it got there, people, most of even the health professionals, and they're also skeptical, and because of the rumors. But as I made a decision to say, I'll look at the health sources. What are they saying? If they're saying I'll protect my mom, because my mom has hypertension and BP, I was like, and my dad had heart disease, and I was like, I can't risk it. So one of the first people to be like, I'm here, jab me, and because I knew my situation at home, so I had to be safe or do anything which makes me unable to transmit it to them, whatever chances, reduce the chances. I was willing to take it. So I'm 2 years past vaccination, no horse, no scales. But I haven't tried everything yet.
So So you're like, if I die, but at least my parents are safe, all those kind of things. You considered a lot of things actually before getting the vaccine, because maybe I'm thinking maybe at some point in time you're skeptical about it to say, do I really need to get it? But if I don't get it, my parents and so like, let me get it. If I die, they'll cry and they'll move on. But I can't move on. So those are some kind of the things. We're looking at the implications of because an vaccine, the COVID-19. I think now we had to make huge decisions about our lives, about the people around us, because we didn't really know what's with this vaccine, what's with this COVID, how long is it going to last, actually, and then it actually affected a lot of people. And we're looking at university students. I for one, I spent like a year without going to school. Right now I was supposed to be graduating this year, but now I'm supposed to be graduating next year because I was at home the whole year. That affected me a lot. I was now thinking, but I had my plans for like in 2022, maybe get married and do something like that. But now I'm still at school, not working, no job, nothing. So those are kind of the things that affected. I think it's not me, but a lot of university students, as we're going to hear from you guys. So in terms of your mental health, I know you think about these things a lot when you're at home. You're like, but now maybe I should be doing that assignment, doing all these kind of things and different things. So how did this thing affect your mental health as students?
I can go, yeah? I think it affected it really badly, especially for me on a business level, because obviously during the pandemic, eventually borders were shut down. We had touched on this, borders were shut down. So then we couldn't order things out from outside of the country like we were. We couldn't go across the border or send people across the border to get the products that we sell. So now you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to find money? You're already a guy and you don't have much money. This is Zim, but then now you have zero.
You're at zero.
Yeah, so that affects you also. You're thinking, where am I going to get money now? So yeah, that's how it affected my mental health. You get depressed from such things.
Yeah, it's depression, guys. And Gloria, what can you say on that?
On my part, when COVID-19 started, I was very anxious. I think we were just anxious on what will happen after it.
Yeah.
What is post-COVID? And regarding school, of course, we shut down and we couldn't go to school, and it affected our learning in that we weren't quite grasping everything that we were getting online. And maybe you see test it's not going well, and even if you try to sometimes teach yourself some things at home, it doesn't work. And we're very anxious at the end of the year, what will happen to my studies and stuff. And around my neighborhood, a lot of youth were affected with depression, and they started taking drugs or alcohol just to pass time. A lot of them, we didn't have anything to do, and they'll wake up in the morning, maybe have a friend who takes drugs, they just starts joining them and stuff. And a lot of people, I think a lot of youth were affected mentally in that they were just trying idle. Yeah. And so when I find the first thing that I can do, get high. So people were just getting high just to pass time. And now not necessarily post-COVID way, things are
I wish.
You wish you were post, but we're still there.
But things are maybe sort of back to normal. It's hard for people to now get back into tune of waking up every day, working hard, going to school and making sure you're active in school, active in everything that you're doing at school. Not that thing you're just relaxing, waiting for the lecturer to come find you online. Now you have to go find the lecturer and stuff. It was a whole mix-up, and it was still trying to, get back into track.
I understand it was a lot, because in our listening session we had a lecturer actually was present, and he was actually telling us about some of these effects on students, to say that students were now underperforming in this COVID because it was now online learning. Sometimes you just say, guys, we're meeting on Google Classroom at such a time, and people just log in and they disappear, and you talk the whole 2 hours and no one is listening, and then you give them an assignment, they write something that's totally off, and then you start to realize that these people were not even there. I think I saw this meme at some point in time whereby someone was sleeping in their laptop, and all those kind of things. People do a lot of things, and their students are, come on guys, and then look at the little lecture. So I was saying a lot of students started underperforming in COVID-19, and then now that things are starting to get back to normal and you are actually going back to school, it's actually hard for students to adjust to that environment again. Sesiqalisa ukubona ulecturer phambi kwethu, after 1 hour bezendiniwe sendlele, senjayele endlini ukuthi at least after 30 minutes ihamba edinga ukudla nje emva kudolo wami lapha enguye oku classroom and no one is noticing anything, but then things actually are now changing. So I'm coming to you. You say you have an experience working with actually COVID-19 affected people, COVID-19 patients. So I just want to ask you, Tim, maybe when you have someone on a COVID-19 and then you actually look after them until the time when they get discharged, how are they? Are they still the same person, or now you can say with this person, but then actually concerned, my issues that might have arisen, because suicidal, others they don't know, which maybe or maybe seven coaches special. How was the situation like when you're dealing with such people?
Okay, yeah. Well, like most of the time, as you know, in COVID, outside the country, in the European countries, America, a lot of people died. And it was really scary when the first COVID cases in Zimbabwe, for the families, and you don't know where this person got the COVID, and then now as the health department, you have to make sure that the person is able to isolate how severe they are and whether they're able to isolate at home or they need to go to an institute, of which in the first stages, like especially for those people who are coming in from different countries, and they're being monitored in this, I remember Elangi in some way, in Bulawayo, where they'll keep them for 2 weeks. Like, let's say if that person had COVID and the symptoms were not prevalent at the time when they arrived, by 2 weeks, if it's active in you should be showing signs.
Yeah.
So, and they'll be tested on their way out as well. So now, right now, they're no longer doing that, but they're required to do the COVID certificates for traveling and so forth. But in the case whereby we're having a patient who gets admitted and they're COVID positive, depending on the severity and how much you can cancel the person is we are seeing the condition. So if they are stable and they are not really sick, you also need to cancel the patient. You cancel the patient and you cancel the relatives. I remember there's a case of a patient who was now due to go home, and people at home were like, "Where? Yes, where? Where is she going? She has COVID." And the like. So we had to tell them. I think it took us like 3 days when the relatives were refusing. They're like, "Hey, she sleeps in the same room with the children or whatever. And as a family, we don't have enough space." So they were really concerned, and they were like, they were not forthcoming in terms of coming to collect her. And we're saying, no, when your period for isolation has passed, you're no longer infectious. You might test positive, but you can't transmit it to the next person. So depending on the number of days, whereby the first number of days, they were saying 14 days. Now it's 10 days. So it keeps reducing due to continuous researches, and COVID is something which came up just like that, and there was no vaccine and all that. So everything is like you keep improving as we go. So the more they research on it, they find out, no, okay, we don't have to do the 10 days, the 14 days, we now move to reduce the days to 10 days. Yeah. And whereby we're saying if you get the 3 doses of vaccines, you can now remove masks in public areas, then in closed environments, you wear the mask, things like that. That's after we've continued to research, we're having new developments which help us to, it's now a different normal. It's not like the same old, we've got a different normal. So those measures are still what the ones we should be using. In terms of counseling of patients who are COVID positive, as a health professional, most of us were trained in counseling. So you'll be able to just talk to the person, and you also talk to the relatives at home, so that they're able to accept and also monitor if they see something in the other individuals in the family. They can also be able to do something before it gets to a severe stage.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's why I know I was really worried about mental health abantu during that time. And actually, a lot of students, we lost our students, due to suicide. We wouldn't know really what was it because of the COVID. By those cases started rising as the COVID. Because that period it triggered izinto eziningi. You start noticing ama-problems akamaningi njengomuntu uhlezi endlini. Like I said, as a student, you are used to being esikolo. I know from 6 maybe ngivuka ekuseni up until 5 I'm at school. I'm interacting with other kids. But now that I'm alone at home, probably abazali bami ngekho, and then I start to think a lot about izinto eziningi, and then at the end of the day it actually affects me as a person. So coming to the students over here, so we're looking at the long-term effects of the COVID-19. Maybe now that is really but then I'm worried about how are you guys accessing in terms of sexual reproductive health locals, and how were you accessing them during that time, considering the lockdown, everything. How are you guys really doing it?
Our parents aren't going to watch this, yeah?
Because we know that we're university students, we are grown-up people, and then of course as scholars sometimes just given, maybe we're given products like condoms, the control pills and all that. But then during COVID, how are you guys accessing those? It might not be you, but then some people talk that during COVID I was doing this and this and this, and then you can maybe refer to that.
All right.
I think that in that area, I think what was the problem? I think a lot of people weren't able to source those things, and yikho kwayenza kwaba nama-problems unplanned pregnancies, just a widespread of STIs, and a lot of bad things happened because of that. Because I think one problem is abantu babengakwanisa ukuhamba kuma hospitals freely, kuma clinics freely if ungena COVID or something. So you couldn't really go and be like, I need to go to the clinic and get my pills, or to get this or get that. It wasn't the right environment to do that. So I think a lot of people were disadvantaged in that area.
Yeah, plus most of us have some feelings in. My mom couldn't know what she is going on. I just twice a Sunday, and then I put condoms in my backpack and all that. But now since I can't say, Mama, I want to go out and get a condom, those kind of things. So I understand that maybe a lot of us were affected in that area is AMA students, university students particularly. What do you have to say on that?
I'm not saying me, Aunt.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
No, but I think, hitting on what Gloria said, it's there wasn't really, we weren't able to access them because of the movement. So you'll be in your area, especially if they're strict about moving around. Remember when COVID had just started, when lockdowns started, which you don't move around a lot. So now when you're in the heat of the moment or just going around to get it, it can be difficult. But then I won't lie, you would go to shops, and they're there in shops. So if you're smart, you buy ahead of time. So
okay.
Yes,
buying ahead of time. Okay. It's not him. It's others, guys. We have a lot of friends where we get these things from. I actually understand where he's coming from. Actually plan ahead of time. Some it's planned, of course. Maybe COVID 2 years. I already have my bag full for 2 years. I'm sorted. But then those were some of the issues that affected. AMA students in this case COVID. We couldn't really access isn't as related to sexual reproductive health, and because of some rumors that I heard. I've been doing rumor collection. I love rumors, by the way. And one of the things that I heard was that others were saying that if you have a vaccine, it's now protecting me from everything, including pregnancy, including HIV, or including all those kind of STIs. So it was something that I was hearing. If I get vaccinated, this is what is going to happen, and then at the end of the day, I just get vaccinated and then expect everything to happen. So maybe talk about like health aspect. Yes, no doctor. She's not a doctor, by the way. But anyways, what would you take on that? Maybe in just a few seconds as we round up the show.
Okay, like I said, a vaccination is not a cure. Yes, we just sensitize your body so that you can be able to identify the invader and be able to fight. So it's not a cure. It's not going to prevent you from being pregnant. It's, and it won't affect your fertility as such. No research has proven that it's really the one which will be affecting your fertility.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was quick, I said quick and then she was quick indeed. Thank you so much for that. Maybe you guys, your closing remarks. Well, what can you say about this whole issue of misinformation, disinformation? What can you say to university students in relation to this? How can they access information, those kind of things? What did you say really in closing?
I think that we're now at university. I can actually say we're a bit more learned, and we can actually apply that education in our lives to say that you just can't accept everything. Try to get to know the root of everything before you just get into something. We can try as youths. We can try.
Thank you so much. V?
I'd say check your facts, guys. Like what she said, you can't just believe everything at face value. Not just for COVID, but things in life. If people said today, guys, the sky is pink, you won't just believe it and then start posting the sky is pink. You go out and you check. So you have to make sure that you check. Just check your stuff and you'll be fine.
Okay. By the way, they are journalists, so they believe in all those, terms, text checking, and all those kind of things. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me on today's show. It was really interesting. I really learned a lot from you guys. Regarding how you guys were affected in this COVID, access to information, access to sexual reproductive products, and then also maybe issues of mental health. And I want to thank you also for actually coming on the show and clearing some of the rumors that we actually collected during our listening session. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Oh yeah, that was it for today's show. This is the COVID-19 Rumour Tracking Talk Show. My name is Marvelous Matswimbo. And I had students from NAST. Yeah, guys, these guys are a whole vibe. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. But until next time, we'll be in another university. I won't tell you where, but just join the next episode of the show. Bye.